Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Corinna Jasienczyk, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. Okay, January 5th, 2024, first paper of the new year, Neepawa Banner and Press. And on the cover, we have Harvesting the Sun. These are solar panels that have been newly installed at the barn in Kelwood, adding to the community's history of valuing sunshine. And the accompanying article is by Rob Waddell. The economic value of sunshine is nothing new in Kelwood. With a vibrant history of harvesting crops and timber from the sunny slopes on the east side of the Riding Mountain Escarpment, that tradition will continue with the newly installed solar panels at the barn. Sean Nugent, owner of Comfort Electric, was the contractor in charge and has seen excellent results for folks, including himself, that have made the investment in solar energy. Nugent said that on his own personal installation, he hasn't had to pay a hydro bill in 5 years, and the system has been feeding power back to the grid, which is sold to Manitoba Hydro. Nugent says, "I am sitting with a healthy credit on my account." The barn, located at the edge of Highway 5 as you turn into Kelwood, is a thriving community venture and home to a variety of businesses and activities. The barn houses a restaurant known as the Farmer's Daughter that is highly regarded for delicious food, as well as a lovely view of the escarpment and the Mountain General Store and gas bar, with its delightfully eclectic selection of items ranging from local canned goods, arts, crafts, and music, Manitoba-made kombucha, and locally roasted coffee, as well as an excellent stock of tasty treats for your sweet or salty tooth. The barn grounds also host a farmer's market, facilitated by the Mountain General Store on Saturdays during the warmer months, as well as the annual Harvest Sun Festival in mid-August. Doug Wood, a lifelong resident of Kelwood and one of the community investors in the barn, says the hope is to have a net zero hydro expense for the facility. With the recent technology they have installed and the geothermal in the original construction, Wood says that should be achievable based on average annual sunlight and current power usage by the facilities. An impressive framework mounted on 26 screw piles holds the panels firmly in place, and on the day this photo was taken, with 70-kilometer-hour gusts of wind, it was rock steady. The future is bright in Kelwood, and residents are looking forward to working together to make the most of it. And over in the top left here, it's Welcome to 2024, Elenia. The 2024 New Year's baby for the Neepawa Health Center or Neepawa Hospital has already arrived. Say hello to Elenia Lease, who is shown here being held by her mom Samantha and accompanied by her father Matt. Matt is shown here holding a brand new quilt, as is custom for the family of the New Year's baby to receive each year. The quilts are made and donated by the Tangled Threads Quilt Guild. Samantha posted on her social media saying, "Thank you so much to all the wonderful people who helped make this beautiful quilt. Our baby girl is so lucky. Thank you." Elenia was born at 9 pounds, 8 ounces, and is 21 inches. Congratulations are extended to the Lease family of Minnedosa. And here in the bottom, Lease deal finalized for nurses course in Neepawa. Town and Assiniboine Community College agreed to $5,000 per month on rent. The Assiniboine Community College's new practical nursing diploma program is just about ready to start up in Neepawa at the former RCMP building. The last of the deals have been cleared. By Ian Devereaux. The last of the deals needed to clear the way for the new practical nursing diploma program in Neepawa has been agreed upon. On December 19th, Town Council signed off on an 18-month lease with Assiniboine Community College for the recently renovated former RCMP building on the 200 block of Mill Street. The contract will include rental of the space at a cost of $5,000 per month. Town of Neepawa CEO Colleen Jasienczyk stated at the meeting why they agreed upon this amount. To run this program in Neepawa, ACC is actually running a deficit. So as much as we thought perhaps we could get a little more rent out of there, they are running a deficit to run the program. They are committed to do so. The new government is committed to do so. And so that is why we settled on the $5,000 a month. The program was first announced in February 2023 and saw the Manitoba government provide $2.1 million to the Brandon-based community college to establish a one-time 25-student practical nursing diploma program in Neepawa. The 2-year program officially starts on Monday, January 8th. Looking back, 1974, a very pleasant, humorous, and active man. Pictured is Jim Thompson, one of the area's pioneers. Thompson was featured in the January 3rd, 1974 edition of the Neepawa Press as a part of a Pioneers of the Beautiful Plains series the paper once ran. Okay, by Casper Warehan. 125 years ago, on January 4th, 1899, this was in the paper. At one of the socials recently held near here, 2 of our would-be aristocratic young men were very attentive to the same lady. So much so, it is said that they both paid for her ticket. Both tried to seat her, and both tried to see her home. Of course, one got left, but he ran along, sometimes ahead and sometimes behind the young lady and escort. Go west, young man, go west. Gordon. On Saturday last, the relatives of Mr. and Mrs. Geo Stonehouse assembled at their residence to congratulate them on having reached the 25th anniversary of their marriage. They brought with them a number of beautiful presents and were in turn surprised and delighted by being ushered into a room where stood a handsome Christmas tree heavily laden with presents. There is to be a formal opening of the new Central School building on Friday, January 6th, when all parents or guardians of pupils and taxpayers too are asked to attend and inspect the building and teaching arrangements. 100 years ago, on January 1st, 1924, this ran in the paper. Arden. Some of our good people, adults as well as boys, are known to leave their drivers tied to a post on our main street for hours. We think we shall have to form another society in town, a humane society, to attend to dumb animals' welfare. One small boy came to get his horse about 11 o'clock last Saturday evening and found the buggy but no horse. Somebody had pity for the cold horse and set him free, knowing he had been there tied for 5 hours. And 75 years ago, the paper, on January 6, 1949, this was reported. The funeral service for the late William Anderson, 70, pioneer farmer of the Halborough district, who died suddenly at his home in Neepawa Sunday, was held in St. James Anglican Church at 2 p.m. Wednesday, December 29th, with Reverend S.B. Gilly officiating. Mr. Anderson was born at Farrington, St. Clements, Norfolk, England, on December 29, 1878. He farmed for a while with his father, then followed the sea for a few years. He later worked on a railroad in England. He came to Canada and engaged in farming in the Halborough district until his retirement to live in Neepawa in 1946. 50 years ago in the paper on January 3, 1974 was this. All Saints Anglican Church, Gladstone, was the scene of a double-ring candlelight ceremony on December 1, 1973 at 5 p.m. when Maxine Louise, only daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Jenkins of Gladstone, exchanged vows with Robert Ross Murray, only son of Mr. and Mrs. Lauren Murray of Oakville, Manitoba. Reverend Graham Bradshaw of Neepawa officiated. Jim Thompson is a very pleasant, humorous, and active octogenarian who, even though he has been in Canada since shortly after the turn of the century, still maintains his musical Scottish brogue. He is very interested in anything that can be done for senior citizens and does his part in making Osborne Residence and the Golden Age Club places of interesting activity. He saw the light of day in a village of the Eglinton Ironworks Company, a mile from the ancient town of Kilwinning, Ayrshire, Scotland, on the 8th day of April, 1886. An older brother came to Canada in 1905, and Jim and his parents and sister followed the next year. They went to a homestead in Wynyard, Saskatchewan. Here his brother stayed, but him, his parents and sister gave up their homestead and came to Burnie, Manitoba. Their farm required a lot of work, clearing, cutting cordwood, and breaking a small portion of the land with horses and a breaking plow. Jim was called up by the Army in 1918 and spent some time in the Minto Barracks in Winnipeg. In 1919, his family left Burnie for the homestead in Wynyard, and Jim took over the farm. The following year, he married an Ontario girl who came to Burnie as a teacher. Her name was Helen Gregg from Weirton. And there's a note here that says this entry is a portion from a Pioneers of the Beautiful Plains series in the Neepawa Press. And 20 years ago, on January 5th, 2004, was this in the paper. An Erickson couple is probably closer to winning $1 million than most of us ever will be. Lisa and Randy Gallien will fly to Gatineau, Quebec, January 11th to take part in a televised draw for $1 million. Lisa was the lucky half of the couple, buying a Celebration 2004 ticket in December. She won a free pouch and redeemed it for what turned out was a much better ticket. Lisa, who works as a dining room supervisor, uncovered 3 $1,000 signs and a television in the instant section of the ticket to win a chance at the $1 million draw. Roxy Theatre, January 5th and 6th, showtime at 7:30 p.m. is the Trolls Band Together. And on January 12th to the 14th, they will be showing Wonka. NACTV highlights of the week include Cooking with the Stars, Episode 1, Old Time Dance Part 2, and NACI Senior Band Concert. The NACTV Jackpot Bingo is now over 17,000. There are other jackpots, but the one that has the most money in right now is over 17,000. In our Perspectives page, we have the cartoon Tundra by Chad Carpenter, and the buffalo is saying to the other buffalo, you know, just because you can do a man bun doesn't mean you should. And then Ken Waddell, Clear Thinking in Short Supply. The first column in the new year is a good time to ask some questions. If we are to no longer be able to buy gas or diesel-powered cars in Canada after 2035, will EV cars and trucks have enough juice in their batteries so people can drive from Swan River to Winnipeg on one charge? Will the government have enough highway patrol vehicles on the roads in wintertime to rescue all the people in their dead cars? How much does a replacement battery cost when the one in your EV battery wears out or becomes damaged? I have seen prices from $12,000 to $20,000, but please check for yourself. We drive a gas-powered Chevy Spark that is rated at 40 miles per gallon. In 1989, we had a Chevy Sprint, and it would do 50 miles per gallon. With over 30 years of technological advance, how did GM lose 10 miles per gallon? How is it that we see regular public announcements that violent sex offenders are being released into the general public with a warning that they are likely to reoffend? What part of a stupid decision are we having trouble understanding? A violent sex offender is already determined to be likely to reoffend, should be permanently placed in an institution. They could have access to online education, become authors, or learn to play a musical instrument, but they should never ever be allowed out in the public again. The price of food is a big topic for discussion these days, but are the right questions being asked? For example, when people add up their grocery bills, are they including all the non-essentials? In my world, non-essentials include cigarettes, liquor, soft drinks, pre-cooked, ready-to-heat food, pet food supplies, and toys, and dare I say, disposable baby diapers and paper towels. By the way, disposable diapers account for 3.7 million tons of landfill waste per year. In our household, my wife keeps track of our expenses, and non-food items and dining out is kept in a separate category. Why do we not process way more food in Manitoba? I know I sound like a silly old man, but even prior to rural hydro, we processed or stored a lot of food in our farmhouse. Potatoes for the whole year were stored in a root cellar. Although not as successfully, so were carrots, parsnips, and turnips stored in the cellar as well. Beets and beans were canned, as was chicken and beef. When hydro came along with a fridge and freezer available, just about anything except lettuce and radishes were stored away. All kinds of fruit, both wild and tame, was frozen or canned. On a larger scale, why do we not can or freeze more? Manitoba grown fruit and food on a seasonal basis. I say that we could reduce our food imports by a huge amount if we processed more in small, local plants. Nearly every town had a small slaughterhouse. There are very few facilities of any size left in Manitoba. If we still had a real Department of Agriculture in Manitoba, maybe we could explore the feasibility of setting up small, local, regional food processing plants. Did you know that many small towns had a flour mill, even up to the 1950s? Today, there are only 3 in the province. The point of all these questions and many more is to promote clear thinking. Back in the day, every 4-H club meeting started with the 4-H motto and pledge. The motto is learn to do by doing, and the pledge goes like this. I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, my health to better living, for my club, my community, and my country. All aspects of that pledge need to be applied today, especially the clearer thinking part. We have become far too dependent on government and big corporations to think and act for us. It wouldn't be so bad if government and big corporations had our best interests at heart, but they don't. Both governments and big corporations are only interested in growing bigger and making more money. If you don't believe that, then take a look at the salaries of those at the top. The compensation for the top decision makers is nigh unto criminal. If we all adopted the learn to do by doing and the pledge, we might have a lot more clear thinking. Clear thinking is in pretty short supply right now. And another perspective by Rita Friesen, Looking Both Ways. On one of my visits to Europe, I learned a life lesson in a moment. My sisters and I were in a major city, and as I prepared to step off the curb, I glanced to my left. It could have been a fatal mistake, for the oncoming traffic was approaching from my right. Sister the older, familiar with the true direction of the traffic flow, apprehended me, thankfully. Old habits linger, are not always safe or the best. Looking both ways is certainly recommended. So where am I going with this? It is the beginning of a new year, and it is my custom to look back at the year past and look ahead to the year ahead. In the year past, I planted another apple tree and another grapevine. I purchased an electric snowblower, which I have not yet tried out. It's not a heavy-duty unit, and I didn't want to test its mettle with those heavy wet snows we have received. I am ready, though. My travel in 2023 wasn't international. A flight with family to visit family on Quadra Island was a wonderful getaway. I had family and friends come and spend time with us, then me. A family wedding was a time of much fun and rejoicing, and the death of my cherished partner was a time of sadness and much sorrow. Life sometimes balances out. I had not looked forward to the Christmas season, and all those feelings of dread and anticipated aloneness were dispelled by the arrival of 2 of my grandsons on Christmas Eve. They came bearing the best gift, their presents. It didn't hurt that they had stocked up on all the foods for the holiday. The provisions were not simply delivered, but prepared and served and stored. A family gathering on Christmas morning and then a feast on the 27th included more family members. There are enough leftovers labeled as to content and prep instructions to half fill the deep freeze. I missed the young men for more than their services. We had table games and hearty, healthy laughter. That was looking back. What this coming year will bring is anyone's guess. There's a quote going around social media that captures my view of the upcoming year. Aren't you terrified of what 2024 could be like? Everything is so messed up. I think it will bring flowers. Yes. Why? Because I'm planting flowers. That may sound a tad simplistic. However, I have planted flowers. I am planting flowers, and I will plant flowers. Ed had many offbeat quotes and quips. He also had a mantra, to live as gently as I can. A quote from a portion of poetry he memorized when he was young. That line is on our headstone and on an insert in the fireplace in my home. Every day it is my goal to live as gently as I can. Keep it in mind that doesn't mean I need to be a floor mat or a punching bag. This does at times become a fast-paced dance. I look forward to the flowers of 2024. May the year ahead be kind to all of us. Okay, perspectives by Neil Stroktion. New Year, New Horizons. For most of us, January 1st is just like any other day. The sun rises at its appointed time. The weather isn't all that different, and for most of us, life will go on at its usual pace. Some things might have been a little different. For example, those who drank too much champagne at the New Year's Eve social probably experienced some real pain when they woke up this morning. If you hosted the party, your house might need some cleaning. And if you had the day off, you could relax for a few hours before returning to your usual daily routine. Eat, sleep, work, take your kids to events, etc. As we all know, January 1st is the first day of a new tax year. Our employment records for 2023 will be compiled, and the required tax statements will be issued. Financial records kept by churches and other charities closed on December 31st. Tax receipts for donations made last year will be issued shortly. We'll keep all such records and use them when preparing our annual tax return, which is due April 30th. January 1st is a good day to reflect on the past year and make carefully considered resolutions for the year ahead. Here are 4 things to consider. First, record your achievements. What goals did you meet? What successes did you enjoy? What good memories did you create that included your family, friends, and others you know? And most of all, how did God reveal His love and faithfulness in the past year? Second, recall your disappointments. What goals weren't met? Why weren't they met? What unexpected challenges did you face? And most of all, what lessons did you learn from those disappointments and challenges? Remember this, nothing in life ever happens by accident. God's presence in our lives ensures that something good will come out of every disappointment, every hardship, every challenge, and every mistake for which we have to take full responsibility. What good came out of the challenges and hardships you faced this past year? Third, list the special events, appointments, obligations, and other commitments you have already made for the coming year. Here are some things to include your list. Will you have times of celebration, like a child's graduation from school, a wedding or wedding anniversary celebration, the anticipated birth of a child or a grandchild? Will you, a family member or a friend, face significant challenges like major surgery, prolonged treatment for cancer, or some other serious illness? Will you be looking for new ways to balance work and continuing education with parenting and other responsibilities? Finally, jot down 2 or 3 major goals that you would like to achieve at some time in the future, like 2 or 3 years down the road. Your list might include a major purchase, like a new home or a new vehicle, upgrading appliances and technology in your house, or going on an extended holiday. How much will you need to save this year to fund these projects? How will you limit current spending to ensure that those funds are available when needed? Now, if we stop here, all we have is 4 nice lists. How do we bring them all together and use them to help us plan for the coming year? To answer that, we need to follow the advice we find in the words of a man who lived for over 2,000 years ago. We will talk about his life and share his advice next week. At the bottom here, we have a picture of a festival of lessons and carols at the Neepawa United Anglican Church. Neepawa Area Community Choir and the Choraleers helped ring in the holiday season last year with a performance at the United Anglican Church on December 17th. The performance was titled A Christmas Festival of Lessons and Carols. The performance was well received as a full house was in attendance to enjoy the well-practiced vocals of the singers. And another opinion piece, it's Math and Politics Explained, submitted by a reader. A learned statistician sent me this little story. It is at worst cute, but at best it may be very predictive. Finally, a mathematical calculation that explains everything. This comes from 2 math teachers with a combined total of 70 years experience. It has an indisputable mathematical logic. It also made me laugh out loud. This is a strictly mathematical viewpoint, and it goes like this. What makes 100%? What does it mean to give more than 100%? Ever wonder about those people who say they are giving more than 100%? We've all been to those meetings where someone wants you to give over 100%. How about achieving 103%? What makes up 100% in life? Here's a little mathematical formula that might help you answer these questions. If the letters of the alphabet are represented as numbers from 1 to 26, then hard work, where the H is the 8th letter, so it represents the 8. So they've added up the numbers that correspond to the letters. So hard work is 98%, knowledge 96%, attitude 100%, bullshit, 103%, and look how far ass kissing will take you, 118%. So one can conclude with mathematical certainty that while hard work and knowledge will get you close and attitude will get you there, it's the bullshit and ass kissing that will put you over the top. Now you know why politicians are where they are. Okay, so that was a humorous little thing. If there's an individual or group in this community who you think deserves a shout out, send them a thumbs up on our opinion page to let them know they're doing great. If there's something not so great, you can also send a thumbs down. Submissions must be under 100 words and include your name. Helen Drysdale has a little section on fiber. We would all benefit from eating more fiber. We have all heard that before, but do you know why fiber is so good for your health? Dietary fiber found mainly in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and legumes has many health benefits. We think of it as a way to prevent or relieve constipation, but it is so much more than that. Foods containing fiber can provide other health benefits, such as helping to maintain a healthy weight, lowering your risk of type 2 diabetes, reducing heart disease, improving gut bacteria health, reducing inflammation, decreasing risk of depression, and lowering the risk of cancer, especially colorectal and breast cancers. The bottom line is it improves your health and life expectancy. Studies show most of us should increase our dietary fiber intake by around 50% compared to our current intake. If you aren't getting enough fiber each day, you can boost your intake. Good choices include whole grain products, fruits, vegetables, beans, peas, and other legumes, nuts, and seeds. By eating a well-rounded, balanced diet, you will likely get the amount of fiber your body needs to run efficiently and lower your disease risk. What do you think of when you think of healthy muffins? Healthy but tasteless? Try these muffin recipes to change the healthy muffins reputation. And there's 2 recipes here. Recycling plateau, a concern in Neepawa. Contaminated recycling could be the issue, by Ian Devereaux. The amount of uncontaminated recycling that's coming out of Neepawa has hit a bit of a plateau, and that could be a sign of some more concerning issues. At their last meeting of 2023, Town Council was notified of the funding amount they should expect to receive from Multi-Material Stewardship Manitoba Inc., MMSM for short, in the new year. Multi-Materials is a not-for-profit that funds and provides support for the province's residential recycling programs for packaging and printed paper. The amount given to every community is calculated by the amount of tons sent over the course of the year. In 2024, Neepawa will receive $75,000 to $528, representing 223 tons of recycling materials. That amount of recycling is an increase of a little under 3 tons from the previous recorded year. For a growing community such as Neepawa, that amount could be considered stagnation. Why the flat line? Upon hearing those figures, Councillor Daryl Gerard noted he was a bit surprised by that relatively small increase. It is kind of surprising considering how much the community has grown and the amount of recycling that could be going to the facilities that we've seen those numbers flatline. Largely, one of the reasons we've seen this is because of contaminated materials going into recycling. Gerard went on to further explain that because of contamination, not only do we not see an increase in funding that Neepawa gets for its efforts, but that we are penalized. We get invoiced for the contaminated load. It can be as simple as a person dumping one bin with the wrong material into their blue bin, and because of that, we lose an entire truckload of recycling. This has been an ongoing problem for Neepawa for at least the last 4 years. The types of items that cannot be recycled and would be considered contamination according to provincial legislations are straws, coffee pods, disposable coffee cups and lids like from Tim Hortons and McDonald's, styrofoam, clothing and textiles, aluminum foil and plates, plastic pouches and laminates. When recycling sent to Evergreen are found to be contaminated, it results in the entire truckload being rejected, and then Neepawa is charged with a per tonnage fee. So in summary, Council commented that if you are unsure of whether or not an item is recyclable, put it in your regular garbage. Okay, on the other side. New LyonsCare Assisted Living Center hosts grand opening in Carberry. Carberry's brand new LyonsCare assisted living facility hosted its grand opening in December of 2023. By Jolene Balcias, Local Journalism Initiative. LyonsCare Assisted Living Facility, a much-needed resource in Carberry, has officially opened. In December, LyonsCare hosted their open house providing tours, a delicious lunch, and a card-making workshop with Kim Adriansen. This passionate group is dedicated to supporting seniors in our community, striving to create an inclusive and supportive environment where residents can maintain their independence while receiving the needed care in their home. A focus on dignity, respect, and compassion, along with building community to ensure opportunities for social interaction and engagement, ensures seniors in our community enjoy an enriching and fulfilling life. LyonsCare is a 16-room facility beautifully and thoughtfully laid out with common areas, creating a cozy, welcoming atmosphere. Each room has a half bath and a spacious living area. There is a large shower and laundry room with assistance when required. A single monthly payment to cover all living costs and offers a sense of security living independently in a facility in case of emergency. Being close to Carberry's busy business district, along with our seniors drop-in center and active handyman program, make this an exciting opportunity for seniors to retire in their home community and to welcome new residents to Carberry. And we have some sports here. Volleyball Manitoba Fall Program, a wonderful success. The Volleyball Manitoba Fall Program has been deemed a wonderful success. Participants of the program practice passing, setting, serving, diving, defense, and offense throughout the 7 weeks of training. The coaches, Hannah and Kyra Kasprick, extend their thanks to all who participated. Co-op Kids Club rings in the new year. On New Year's Eve, Neepawa Gladstone Co-op held a Kids Club New Year's Eve party. Everyone in the communities were invited to the administration building in Neepawa to ring in the new year. Held from 10 to noon, this free event treated kids to hot chocolate served by 2 Neepawa Titans players, Cooper Kasprick and Addison McIntosh, joined by coaches Ken and Derek Pearson. Snow paint was a favorite activity, followed by a candy cane hunt. At noon, everyone counted down to midnight when the balloon drop happened. The kids enjoyed popping all the balloons to find candy inside. Every kid in attendance entered their name into the grand prize, and Rory Martin walked away with a new toboggan, snow racer, and snowball making kit. The Neepawa Gladstone Co-op Kids Club is a free group for all kids 12 and under. Some bowling results, an opinion piece beginning 2024, and it's by Kevin Slimp. Making bold predictions is easy. This year, I've paid close attention to forecasts by respected sports writers in national print and online publications to see how my football bowl predictions match up against their predictions. Some of you probably did the same thing. I was surprised that I correctly predicted the winners of the bowl games at a much higher rate than any of the national sports writers I followed. There are still a few games remaining in the bowl season, so that could change. For now, however, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I think it's probably easier for someone like me to make predictions like these because I have nothing on the line. I can pick Missouri over Ohio State because I don't feel any pressure to pick the favorite. Let's face it, if I'm a respected sports writer considering picking Ole Miss to beat Penn State, I know I will get hammered if my underdog pick loses. The safe bet is to choose the favorite. Then, if the favorite loses, most readers will understand because they pick the favorite too. I've made a career out of making good bets on the newspaper business. More times than not, my bets were not popular among experts, but I somehow kept picking the right team. My first bet was long ago in the early 1990s. I was betting against big players like Adobe and others who were adamant that designing a newspaper in one location and then magically sending it to another location to print using a new technology called a PDF file was a crazy idea. For a lot of reasons, the idea couldn't work. Thankfully, a few folks placed their bet on my idea, and before long, the PDF file was a standard for printing newspapers and everything else. A few years later, the CEO of Adobe wrote to me, thanking me for possibly saving his company. And continued on page 11. Fast forward a few years, and I found myself once again making unpopular wagers. Most noted experts were convinced the printed newspaper was within just a few years of extinction. Even newspaper experts predicted the quick end of the printed word. Many leading journalism schools led the way by proclaiming the newspaper business dead. I kept hearing the year 2018 knocked about as the year the final newspaper would turn off its press. I wonder when someone will print a t-shirt with "Kevin was right" on the back. A quick Google search just now, searching for headlines from the past week, uncovers a windfall of gloomy predictions, including from the Canadian Journal of Opinion, the near death of local news; from Politico, no stopping the newspaper death spiral; from The Economist, who killed the newspaper; from Business Insider, the year the newspaper died; from The Guardian, British newspaper to die 2019. Many of you are familiar with the newspaper extension timeline by Australian-based futurist Ross Dawson. I found the timeline from 2010 predicting that newspapers in the United States would be insignificant by 2017. According to the timeline, most other nations' papers wouldn't face extinction for another decade or two. I'm not picking on Dawson or anyone else. Dawson has since backtracked on the extinction date in the US and admitted it was much too early. That doesn't, however, undo the damage that was done to newspapers who had to explain to their readers and advertisers that they weren't dying. Like football bowl predictions, it's safer to agree with popular opinion than to make unpopular predictions. I suspect it also leads to more invitations to speak at conferences. I get it. By now, you might be wondering if I will ever get to my point. Get ready, it's coming now. It is the beginning of a new year. What if we agreed to pay less attention to experts declaring our demise and spend a little more time appreciating what we've created and investing in growing our newspapers? I hear from publishers daily who are investing in the future of their newspapers. They're investing in staff training, new designs, hardware and software, and marketing. They have not only not given up, they're investing in their futures. If I were an expert who had predicted the death of newspapers a dozen years ago, I'd probably be saying something like, I didn't hit the exact date, but I was right. I was just a few years off. That seems like the safest way to keep getting speaking gigs. Thankfully, I'm not too concerned about that these days. So let me suggest you give my ideas some consideration. It just might make for much more enjoyable as well as profitable 2024. And in the classifieds, we have two obituaries. Keith Wellington Mark passed away on December 15th, 2023, at the age of 74. At the bottom here it says, we would like to thank the staff at Minnedosa Hospital for the care and compassion shown to Keith, and to Kendra Wark for all her support and knowledge. In lieu of flowers, donations can be made to the Minnedosa Palliative Care Unit. A private family service will take place at a later date. And there's an obituary for Robert Victor Martin. Okay, on the right-hand side here, we have HMK students art featured at Arts Forward. Arts Forward closed out the 2023 year with an exhibit featuring the works of Neepawa's Hazel M. Kellington students. A gala evening was held in December, featuring a variety of winter-themed and other artworks, such as poppies, snowmen, frogs, and more. Live music was also provided by the Selkie School of Music. On the right-hand side, we have Ho 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 holiday performances. A series of Christmas plays and musical performances were put on at area schools to close out the month of December. Pictured are some of the performances. Top photo, Brookdale Elementary School's grade K to 8 students performed Santa's Holiday Playlist. The grade 5 to 8 and alumni band also held a concert. Middle left, J.M. Young's K to 8 students performed a rendition of Santa's Holiday Playlist as well. Middle right, students from the J.M. Young 5 to 8 band performed at the annual concert. Bottom, NACI senior band performed Chasing Sunlight. And on the back page, we have Cooking with the Stars to debut on NACTV. And in the picture is Jordan Luhowe and Tyrone Gulak of High Life at the Cooking with the Stars event. And it was submitted by Neepawa Eats Healthy. Need quick and healthy meal ideas in the new year? Tune in to Cooking with the Stars, Neepawa edition on NACTV. The concept behind this TV production is to help promote the Meal in 30 project being initiated by the Neepawa Eats Healthy Committee. Norma Holmes has been involved with the Neepawa Eats Healthy Committee since its start 4 years ago. The vision for the work of this committee is to build a strong community connection to the importance of healthy eating by involving many community partners and the residents of Neepawa. After the Meal in 30 pilot project was tried for the first time last year, the committee is hoping that even more people will get behind the project in 2024 by picking up the monthly recipe and cooking it at home. There are monthly prizes to be won, commented Holmes. For every person that scans the QR code on the recipe card and completes a short survey after cooking the recipe at home, they will have a chance to win a grocery gift card generously donated by our local grocery partners. From January until June 2024, monthly recipes will be featured for the Meal in 30 project, encouraging community members to shop at their local Safeway and Co-op grocery stores, pick up the monthly featured Meal in 30 recipe along with the featured food items, discover how easy it can be to prepare budget-friendly, tasty meals at home. So now imagine the show Chopped meeting Dancing with the Stars in Neepawa, Manitoba. Each Meal in 30 recipe will be cooked and judged by local Neepawa celebrities. These Neepawa celebrity chefs will compete against each other for the best tasting prepared item. Each of the celebrity chefs are able to bring one additional secret ingredient to elevate the recipe they are preparing for the show. The secret ingredient chosen by each chef will hopefully help the 3 judges make their decision on which recipe has been prepared the best. We hope that the show will bring attention to the Meal in 30 project, as well as highlight the importance of food plays in our lives, encourage more cooking to happen at home, even when feeling stretched for time, and remind us all of the important role food can play in helping build connection in our homes and community. The first cooking show battle features Jordan Luhowe cooking against Tyrone Gulick from High Life. Tune in to NACTV Access Channel January 8th, 8 p.m., or January 10th, 3 p.m., January 12th, 8:15 p.m., or January 14th at 9:15 p.m. to see who has been awarded the Golden Spoon Award for the best prepared pen with veggies and black beans. You too can get involved and be a star in your very own kitchen. Let's get cooking, Neepawa. And at the bottom here with the picture, Park Lake steadily progressing. Steady progress is being made at Neepawa's Park Lake. Pictured here is the new spillway as it currently appears. And that wraps up our paper for this week, our January 5th, 2024 edition of Neepawa Banner and Press. Read the news. Thank you.